How's your new year? You should follow. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm home now. That was pretty mad. I went to the hospital this morning because when I woke up, I coughed once and it felt like something was broken. So I drove myself, pardon me, I drove myself to the emergency room and we did CAT scan, x ray, breathing stuff. And luckily, it's not pneumonia, it's not bronchitis, although they're going to treat it like it's bronchitis. So I'm on steroids and antibiotics, but only for a few days. Um, he thinks I tore a muscle in my right here from either coughing or from continual crutch usage. He also checked my foot to make sure that that wasn't infected, and then yeah, sent me on my way. The steroids he gave me earlier aren't wearing off, so it's getting a little hard for me to talk. So, excuse me. I figured I would go ahead and make a video while I could still talk. I haven't done much in the way of updates or hunting or anything like that just because I really haven't been feeling that good. But one thing I've been working on in my spare time is I've been wanting to do a GBA original with the 101 conversion, which is what you need this cable for to go to a 40 pin connector with the power. I have another version of this connector which has the backlight brightness controller, but I'm going to start with this one because there's a switch that I'll show you when I do that conversion that will make it brighter. For that, I have this 101 screen. I also have a new glass because it's going into a Game Boy Advance. Don't know, it just fell off the board, but you know, it's the way it goes. While I was waiting for that to show up, I've been screwing around with Game Boy SP front light kits, and I've been watching all these kits about how to front light and bivert your Game Boy Color, all that stuff. One thing I've noticed is that nobody has done a true SP install into a Game Boy DMG. That being said, there's people that have taken the motherboard and the screen and they've done all the wiring in order to get these buttons to work with their DMG. This is a DMG, by the way. I'm just waiting for the glass to come in so that I can finish putting it back together. I had a couple extra shells and a couple extra Game Boy Advance SPs in parts. I wound up with one good motherboard and like 3 good screens. So, in the meantime, bear with me. This is just a proof of concept as well as a rough start. I've pretty much finalized everything, but everything I'm using is just junk parts, so it will look a lot better when it's done. So you have the original DMG, and then you have what I'm building, which is a 2 broken games. No, but what I'm doing is I'm actually taking an SP and plastic welding. You can see I've already done it here, and I have to do the finish pieces. I even saved the curve off the front. I plastic welded the part, the face from the DMG onto this Game Boy shell. Same thing with a top screen. So instead of trying to cut this one up to fit this, I just went ahead and plastic welded in this around to one of these, and then of course I filled in all the screw holes because those aren't necessary. That's another 001 with a good screen that I'm going to use for parts. Sorry, that was my R2 Star Wars edition 360. I'm a little out of breath. The reason I'm doing it this way is because I wanted to keep all the functionality of the original SP components. So unlike having to run a maze of wiring through here to get these buttons to work, this is just straight up factory SP stuff. And to show you it works, I stuck a game in there. And again, I still have to do finishing and filling in. It'll be much better when it's done. But just to show you, it does work. And because this is a GBA game, it's designed for this aspect ratio. But let me throw in another game real quick. But since it's just front lit, it's not that big a deal. But it's also a proof of concept, and I can actually change this screen very easily. One design edict I have, and I'm going to have to do a little bit more modifying down here in order to get the games to be more ejectable, is anything you put together should be able to come apart. That's why it's taped here. I still have to figure out how to reuse the factory screw holes to get the back on there. But as you can see, corrupt copy of Donkey Kong. Come on now. I have to get the power switch in there. Nintendo what? So, as you can see, I made cutouts that, again, I'm going to have to put in back pieces and fill in this hole back here. But you can use the shoulder buttons as a factory R, and obviously then play the game. As you can see it playing here, I'm looking at the screen, not the camera. But, you know, so you can do whatever you need to without having to do a massive wiring job. Yes, it's a little fiddly to plastic weld, and as you can see, there's a few spots where I still have to redo it, but in general, the plastic welding went very well. You can see how it actually mates up pretty flush. These again will be finished off. That's the volume control and the power control on this side. Couple of things I've done that I'm still finishing off. I filled in the COM port, and this is using all original plastic from the case that I tore apart, so it will obviously be made out of the same plastic, which is good. Last thing I have to do, and I have to figure this out, is I want to hide the charger, but what I'm thinking, here you can kind of see how I have it just sitting in there. I actually even keep the back of the case in there. Makes it a lot more compact. But what I want to do is run this adapter in the back of the Game Boy, and then I'm going to run a cable. See, it's hidden in there, but I'm going to run a cable that winds into the back of the system and comes back down and is accessible through the charge port, and you can tuck the cable in here so it'll be rechargeable that way without having to go crazy. Although you could technically get the battery out still, even with the battery cover in there. So yeah, that's kind of the video for today. Sorry if I sound like an idiot, but that's just how I sound today. If you have any questions, comments on what I'm doing, I just showed you it works, so it's all cosmetic at this point. Let me know what you think. And I'm going to do the GBA, the Game Boy Advance, in like my chin. This shell, which is a junky third-party shell that somebody had already messed with, but it's got a good motherboard and a new glass, like I said. So when that one's done, then I'll have a backlit Game Boy Advance and a frontlit Game Boy DMG SP. And again, since it will have a factory set of buttons and everything, it won't be a hacked up wiring job, nothing like that. I just got to make it look pretty. And as you can see, I've started, as I said, cleaning up these ports so that I can fill them in a little bit. But yeah, that ought to be really good when it's all done. So you'll have full access to everything. That's about it. Considering leaving this like that so that way you can store a game in there. I think that'll look cool too. So yeah, let me know. Talk to you guys later.